Hey guys, it's Atlantean Vampire here, and I wanted to do an actual video on vampirism and not me just being like I don't know, an asshole. So, like I want to actually go back to, topic, right? I've been posting some videos that, well, obviously I think are quite based, are, well, not really the subject matter, but it's nice because instead of walking over eggshells and, being like, I'm a vampire, and then trying to hide my political associations, and then people are like, oh, this guy gives off red flags. It's like, nope, I'm just crunching right over the eggs, splattering the yolks. It's a mess, but, no one can accuse me of like hiding my true intents, as I think our worldviews, politically, philosophically, influence very much everything, including our spirituality. Um, yeah, very much so. And I'm also like burning through a pack of cigarettes because I already shaved my beard and my head, and I'm like contemplating when I'll be ready to go through nicotine withdrawal. It scares me. It absolutely scares me. I wanna be clean. I wanna be clean from alcohol and tobacco, right? Already reading, meditating, and working out again, trying to get into warrior shape, practicing fighting and all of that. But yeah, you know, it's it's a struggle, right? It's a struggle. But yeah, so I'll be smoking throughout this video. Yeah, I'll be posting soon the last parts of my vampiric origin, right? And then I think I'll be posting like one more kind of radical political video, kind of talking about men and women and the social dynamics, and how I think modernity has basically soured our ability to interact with each other functionally. Um, it's just, yeah, because more men are going towards people like Andrew Tate and becoming rotten cretins, and a lot of women are going down like their own equivalent. I don't know who the female Andrew Tate is, but it's yeah. So I don't know. When I see confusion and chaos, I gravitate towards order. So it's hard not to cover, socio-political, economic things, right? It's really hard not to do that. And then I'll be posting a video on Jeffrey Epstein and how that relates to UFOs. And yeah, that video will really be out there. That'll be offensive. I'll be surprised if that doesn't get taken off of YouTube, or, I don't know. I love life, and I did not kill myself. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, and I was just going through my the people I'm subscribed to, and I've had this channel for 5 years, and that's like 5 years of my life where I've used this channel for nothing productive, right? I'm looking through all the people I've subscribed to, and I'm just like, oh, fishing, hunting. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I'm just seeing like random people I subscribe to, and I'm like, none of this seems relevant. No wonder I don't get any videos recommended to me that actually make sense, that I actually want recommended to me. So I've just cleared house, and I'm like looking at all these like channels that I subscribe to, and it gave me insight into myself 5 years ago. I'm starting to see all the occult channels I'm subscribed to, and I'm like, okay, now this is starting to make more sense. This is yeah. But then I'm like seeing some of the occult channels I'm subscribed to, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's not good. Like Scarlet Ravenwood, I said it 5 years ago, and I'll say it now. Probably like one of the most beautiful occultists. She's just super hot, and I was like, wait a minute, I subscribed to her just because she was hot. She probably posts a lot of good, competent occult videos, and I'm just imagining that like 5 years ago, because I don't really remember, I was probably just watching her videos, but she's hot. And I'm like, well, I have a lady now, and I'm not going to watch her occult videos for the wrong reason, or for the right reasons, right? So I unsubscribed, and I'm like, how many female occultists did I subscribe to because they were hot? In general, how many occultists have I subscribed to because they were hot, or their voice sounded hot? I'm like, yeah, this isn't really a productive mentality, right? I mean, just the amount of thirst traps on here is crazy. But I can't even say that with a straight face was what I intend on editing it in. But I'm sorry, Magicology. That was too far. Anyways, yeah, just clearing house, right? And also clearing quite literal house because my room looks like a Jordan Peterson analogy for my mental health. But anyways, so yeah, I wanted to do a video on exorcism. More importantly, exorcism of a house, because there was a house I cleared of evil spirits like 7 years ago, and my family, extended family, was living in a mansion that was built in like the 1800s. They were renting it out because, my family will never be able to afford to own a mansion, but they were renting it out. And when I say mansion, I mean like mansion for the 1800s and not like modern day mansion. So it's basically enough to like fit like a family with like maybe 8 kids, if that makes sense. It's not that big, but a long time ago it would have been like, oh wow, how many slaves did you own? But yeah, so it's a pretty big house, and it was across from a cemetery. And this house was also built on a ley line. And a lot of fucked up shit has happened in this house, right? And I've always had a duty towards ley lines and protecting ley lines, right? So it was of a particular interest to me to cleanse this house, right? Because, my family, my aunt and her kids had all sorts of weird experiences there. Things falling off the shelves, things literally floating, and night terrors and stuff like that. And there was something wrong with the house because across, in the cemetery across, there were some bad people buried there, but also some of our ancestral dead. It's actually a place where, I'd like to go back to in New York and pay homage to my ancestors. It's a very important place to me. But yeah, I mean, it's just the house, though, really, really haunted in all the wrong ways. And, my aunt, who's a medium, could sense, spirits there that were okay, that probably lived there in life. And but there was also a darker force there, right? And it seemed like there was an oppression over the house, right? So I was much younger, and I go inside, and I'm like, okay, where am I going to start this operation? The living room, right? So this is a pretty elementary task, the way in which I set up this ritual. But, and we're stealing a little bit from Christopher Penczak here with the Shamanic Temple of Witchcraft, which is actually a good book, despite Christopher Penczak being a piece of shit and saying astral or psychic vampires are basically people that are traumatized that can't keep their trauma to themselves, so they make everyone miserable. So, like, basically if you get raped or you kidnapped or witness something horrible happen, never bring it up, because then you're draining everyone's energy. It's like victim blaming to a disgusting level, right? He's a horrible human being, but his book is good. It's a good book. Highly recommend it. Well, anyways, so basically, I set up like 4 tea light candles, right? For north, east, south, and west, right? The 4 dwarves. And I lay down in the middle, right? And, I think this works better if you already have a solid vampiric practice, or you're just naturally an astral vampire like me. But I laid down in the middle of this the circle I made, right, to protect me, even though I don't need the protection. I'm not in danger. I am the danger, Skylar. I am the danger, right? But, yeah, so I lay down in this. I tell my cousins not to disturb me, and that soon order will return to the house, right? And then, I engage, right, in a basic rudimentary ritual to leave my body, where basically at the time I called upon the protection of a goddess I worship named Diana, or Dia Diana, Diana Lucifera, um, who I personally believe is the same entity as Kali Ma, the Theotokos, or Virgin Mary, Tiamat, the Morrigan, whatever. Um, yeah, I asked for protection, right? Even though, again, it's kind of, I am the thing you need protection from. But anyways, it's always, good to have the extra layers, I suppose. But yeah, basically, and again, this is a simple ritual. There's probably a million videos on YouTube talking about it. But basically what I did was I tried to, use the framework of two states of ritual consciousness, light ritual consciousness and deeper ritual consciousness. And, basically I imagined, a blank screen in front of me, when I closed my eyes, looked into my mind's eyes and, or mind's eye, and I see a white number 12. And then I start counting down from 12 to 1. And this, gets me into lighter ritual consciousness. And now I don't visualize the 12. I just think of the number 12 and start counting backwards till I get to 1. Now that I'm in deeper ritual consciousness, the way I do it is I imagine, light, which doesn't really do anything for me, right? Light flowing from my higher self to my crown chakra, to my third eye, to my throat, to my heart, to my solar plexuses, because I have 2, down to my sacral and my root, and just to clear out energy. Like, to a lot of people, taking this cosmic energy, you would absorb it and utilize it as a power source. I can't really do that because it is an elemental energy I'm calling upon. It's not to say that I can't use it to flush out debris. Oh, yeah, obviously. Like I've said in the past, I can utilize elemental energy, but I can't, consume it. It's like mouthwash for me, whereas to other people, it would be like water. You're just swishing water around your mouth and you can swallow it. I can't, so it just goes right through me. However, there is an exception. There is a type of energy that I can consume that is pure, that is the alchemical gold, without being processed through people's bodies. I don't know why I don't utilize this more often. Well, probably because it's actually too pure. It's so pure that it actually can really, it can become hard to handle. But I imagine, typically within line of this, already pre-existing shamanic ritual, I imagine roots traveling from my feet deep and deep beneath the earth. But because I believe in the hollow earth, these roots emerge in the hollow earth as the form of a vine stalk. And this vine stalk grows and grows towards the sky, reaching the sun in the middle, which I don't really think is a sun. I think it's like an anomaly that produces vril and galder. And I draw upon this pure vril and galder, and I bring it to the outer earth and within my body, and it charges me. And it's so pure and psychically empowering that I can barely process it. I can feel my chakras with it, and it's quite it's absolutely strange. It's such a strange feeling flowing through me. But yeah, I can bring it up towards me. Oh, sorry. I had to go use the bathroom. Anyways, you know what? I'll actually explain that inner sun phenomena. It's like how in Warhammer, right, you have all these brigades of Astra Militarum, or regular Marines or whatever, regular soldiers, and they have their rations, their corpse starch, and then you have Space Marines that have a larger body, higher nutritional needs, faster metabolism, amongst many, many other things. And the way they're built, they need super concentrated Space Marine bars, because if they eat the regular Legion's food, the regular soldiers' food, they'll the first of all, the Space Marine will starve to death, and the soldiers will starve to death. Like they need really packed nutrition paste, and it's like something ridiculous, like 1,000 soldiers' rations combined into one concentrated protein bar, and it's like the Space Marine being built like a gigantic diesel monster machine, and then every other soldier being like a little taxi or moped or whatever. And it's kind of like that, where in this instance, I'm like the regular soldier, and sucking up energy from the inner earth is like consuming a Space Marine's food. Because in the lore, if a regular soldier eats Space Marines like food, they die of like overwhelming calories. Like that small amount, when it goes in their body, they're given vitamin poisoning, protein poisoning, fat poisoning. Like you can get poisoned by vitamins, fats, proteins, carbs, all of that, sugars, if it's too much of it, and it just puts your body into shock and kills you. So, I mean, yeah, I'm very careful when I extract energy from the sun of the inner earth, because as a vampire, maybe I should feed on it too much, but there've been a few instances where I drawed upon that and I was like, holy fuck, what did I just get myself into? It's probably not worth it, because it is in this instance too much of a good thing, right? It's interesting. If I figured out how to master that, come to think of it, I don't think I'd really have to feed on anyone. That's a funny thought, like that's a pure ball of like perpetual source energy that basically filters out energy that would be produced by your chakras processing elemental energy. It's such a weird thing. I can't even describe it. But yeah, it's like a physical manifestation of, I don't even know. It's something else. It's special. But anyways, I drawed upon that energy before I went into this ritual, and basically, as this energy travels up from the inner earth to the outer earth into my body, I feel this strength, this virility, this vitality, this, I don't even know how to describe it, and then I imagine, and some people are more physical with their astral travel. For me, it's more a visual thing that I can get to feeling sort of physically, but it's not as potent as some people's astral journeying, right? Results may vary. But yeah, anyways, I imagine basically that I turn into a tree, right? And then I imagine, the world I'm at, and then a world above me, right? And I just imagine, it's hard, I'm gonna have to find like a video of something from pop culture, but I just imagine it's like this tree I am is part of this gigantic, like, flat circle, I guess, this plate. And then the plate itself goes upside down. And in that instance, I go right side up, and I'm brought to the spirit world. And then I imagine in this tree is my checkpoint. I imagine that I'm starting to form a new body from this tree, and then I fall off the tree into this this void that is just like, it feels like rocks, I guess, dirt, but everything's black. There's fog, and the fog itself is black. There's water, and the water is black. And basically, in order to, there's a multitude of things you can do with this void, right? But when you fall off this tree, the only thing that's visible immediately is the tree that you fall off of and this surrounding void, right? And what you have to do before you hone in on the stream is think about where you want to go, right? If I want to go to Midgard, like the apartment, right? Basically, I imagine that there's a door in the distance that when I exit through it, I'll wake up outside my body, and I'm still on Earth, but I'm in the spiritual side of things, the astral side of things, and I'll be in that living room. And then the other alternative is imagining a door in the distance that will lead me to a very distinct world that is not the physical world, that is the actual astral, right? But in this instance, I'm imagining there's a door, and this door will lead me to the living room. But in order to find the door, I have to listen and feel with my feet, as I'm barefooted. And it's best to imagine yourself being barefooted in this situation, but I just walk around in the perimeter of the tree in different directions till I feel wetness on the ground, and I follow the wetness, and I listen, and when I start to hear running water, I follow it, and then eventually I'm walking through this stream, and that's basically your trail marker, because this is an infinite empty room, and you don't want to get lost in it, even though for some reason, because the tree is a part of you, you can always find your way back, but it's like a meaningless walk through nothing. So it's best to follow the stream if you want to get anywhere. And then you follow the stream, right? I followed the stream, and then I see the door. And to me it looks like a regular wooden oak door, and I open it up, and then I stand up, right? After I walk through it, I stand up, and I'm in the living room. I am in etheric form. I see myself laying down on the ground. My cousins are in the living room, and I'm like, all right, time to figure out what's going on here, right? And again, there are many ways to exercise Holmes. This is my way of doing it. I stretch, and I'm like, all right. And I look more or less like my human self in this etheric form, but that'll change, right? I'm looking around, and I see a young teenage girl. She has to be 17 years old, something like that. And she's wearing old-fashioned, old-timey clothing. And I try to talk to her, and she has this black kind of sludge around her eyes. And I immediately misjudge and think that this must be a mimic or something bad, a crackhead spirit. So I'm prepared to kill this person, this thing I thought it was. But and I realize, I have to be reasonable in this situation. The spirit is the realm of the reason. The physical world is the realm of logic. So I have to be reasonable and kind of break down the situation. And then I realize she's enslaved to something else's will. And then I see another spirit, a child with the same kind of black around his eyes, running around. And I'm like, okay, so there's a teenage girl and a young little boy in this house. Okay, they don't seem to be a threat. And then I'm walking upstairs, and I can see corruption dripping from the walls, like a black ectoplasm, and these things that look like portals, right, for something to kind of, even though it's, the house is easy to get to point A to point B pretty quickly, but whatever this is lazy and likes to make portals. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just looking around, and I'm using my vampiric ability to smell what I want, kind of like Jack Sparrow's compass, and I'm just looking around and I'm smelling. And then I go back to the living room, and I see this gigantic fucking abomination, this thing that is pure misery, that is pure evil, standing over me. And it can't enter because of this magical circle that I made using the tea light candles and using the element of fire to charge the circle. And it's just standing outside of it trying to figure out how to get in, right? Because it sees a vacant body that it thinks is a dead body. And then basically I'm behind it, and it looks at me, and it's ready to plunge. It's ready to kill me. And then my bones start cracking. The ethereal outfit that I'm wearing rips. I'm completely naked. And, my skin starts ripping, and I start transforming into a monstrosity that's at least twice as much bigger than this thing. I have gigantic claws, gigantic teeth, piercing, beating red eyes, black skin. I'm just reconfiguring myself into a predatory form. And, just these talons just keep growing longer and longer. And, and I'm just looking at this thing, and it's absolutely afraid. It's it starts pissing itself, and then I grab it by the throat, and then I bring its head to my mouth, and I bite out a chunk of its face, and then start swallowing it, and I'm like, ugh, gross. but I just keep eating it, and it's freaking out. It's trying to get away, and then I, basically rip off its arm and swallow its arm whole, and then I reach into its diaphragm and pull out its heart and just start squeezing, and then I just start eating pieces of it and start mutilating it, and then I spiritually set it on fire while also drinking its blood, which at this point is everywhere. Oh my God, it's like it's that scene from Supernatural with the imaginary friend, that is killed and no one can see its blood, but the living imaginary friend gives Sam and Dean the ability to see the blood. No one else can see it. So it's all over my cousins. It's all over it looks like a crime scene. And this thing is killed, and I can see this black substance being lifted from the young girl and the teenage boy. They're free. And they thank me. They couldn't speak prior because whatever this thing was had control over them, and it was probably utilizing the power of the ley line in which they were situated. And, this, this creature kind of reminded me of the that witch from Coraline, and it was just trying to utilize this house and the ley line as its own little kingdom, its own little personal pocket dimension. And I was like, no, absolutely not. This is a sacred ley line. You will not violate the earth like this. And across the street is ancestral stomping grounds where my ancestors are buried. So no, absolutely not. I could have banished it, sure. But why do that when you can just rip it apart, eat it, and drink its blood? Maybe that's just my biased perspective. But yeah, no, after it's fully dead, I'm like, okay, you two can stay here. And then I see the mother and father who are hiding, and they're like adults in their 40s, they look like. And I can see this black substance being lifted from their eyes, and they look normal. It's a family that lives there, and I'm like, well, you lived here first. You seem like decent people. And then I let them know that they were dead, because they were, and they were like, they kind of knew, but they just didn't accept it yet. And it's like with this thing controlling them, it was like there was a veil over their eyes. So they couldn't really understand the situation. It was like they were being fed upon, like they were being puppeted, like they were thralls, like they were slaves. And, after they were freed, I was like, you can live here or you can move on. I don't give a fuck about you. But, you're free to go to heaven or hell or purgatory or reincarnate. I don't give a shit. Or live here. You're not threatening my family, and my family has sensed you and they don't mind you. So, continue to live here if you want. Just, don't watch anyone masturbate or shower, and we're good. And, that pretty much settled that. And I'm just looking at these dead, burning body parts, and I'm like, all right. And I step inside the circle, and then I see a door over my body. I walk in, and it's back into this void. And I can, again, sense the tree. I walk up to the tree, and then I merge my body with it. And, I imagine this realm flipping back to right side up. And, I'm in the right side up area instead of the upside down, I guess. And, I basically imagine, or rather think to myself, number 1, and then I count upwards to 12. And then again, to get myself back into lighter ritual consciousness, I imagine a white number 1 in my mind's eye, and then I count upwards to a white number 12. And then I give myself permission to wake up, and I wake up inside the circle, and, my cousins were satisfied because they felt like whatever dark presence was there was lifted. They're like, oh, what did you do? And I'm like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. But it's gone, and the good spirits are still here, right? But yeah, it was that day in which I liberated my first ley line, and that evil thing is gone. And so I hope you found this interesting. I hope this was a more relevant video, more to your taste and the reason you potentially subscribed. But anyone can do this, I guess, if you're confident and audacious enough. Or you could just get a fucking priest or an abalone shell and some sage, I don't care. But this was my approach. Very dark, and someone's going to give me some bullshit about karma and consequences, and fuck you, I don't care. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.